Now we are in the measure phase itself. Though we have discussed it earlier also in the define phase and in the measure phase as well. Now we are going to get into some of the details of what are the different sort of specification limits that we have. So if we talk about continuous data, we look at the upper specification limit and lower specification limit. Okay? Upper specification limit is the limit that which is the upper limit of any particular product or design or any service which my customer is looking at, and lower specification is the lower limit on which my customer is evaluating it. Okay, so some examples of specification limit is mentioned here. If an online application fails, it must come back within 15 minutes. In that particular case, 15 minutes is the upper specification. Yes, it should not exceed 15 minutes. The moment it exceeds 15 minutes, it becomes a defect for me. So therefore, there is an upper specification limit decided by the customer that if my internet goes for a toss, it should be up and running within 15 minutes. If it is up and running before 15 minutes or within 15 minutes, it is good. So therefore, there is a upper specification limit defined by the customer, which is the online application fail. Another example. To avoid overdraft, bank accounts should not have less than $15,000. So here, it should not go beyond 15,000. If your bank account has less than $15,000, it calls out as an overdraft. Okay, so this 15,000 is your lower specification limit, the limit which should not go beyond. So that's a lower specification. Third example, where we have both. The example says the amount of text on PowerPoint slide should be between 50 and 150 words. So in this particular example, we have both the lower specification limit and upper specification limit. 50 is my lower specification and 150 is my upper specification. In majority of the scenarios, when I'm talking about service industry, we either have one of them, but in manufacturing sort of a world, we have both the specification. Okay, so if I talk about, let me ask you a question. If my customer says that I want the product to be delivered within 5 hours of the order I place, so is 5 hours my upper specification or lower specification?
Upper specification.
What do
upper
others
specification.
think?
It's upper because that's the maximum time.
Yes, it should not exceed 5 hours. So that's my upper specification. Can there be any lower specification limit in this case?
No.
No, because as early is better. So
as early as better. Okay. If I take an example of quality scores, my quality percentage, if my customer says that I want 90% quality, is 90% my USL or LSL?
LSL.
LSL. That's
Yeah,
the minimum.
It is the minimum amount.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It should not go beyond 90%. I hope you have all have understood. So this is a difference between, can I have the upper specification limit in quality scores?
No.
The 100 will be a USL.
100 will be on when
So if you say 100% as a upper specification, which means it should not go above 100%. So it is not applicable, right? So in some of the scenarios, yes, please.
Sorry, but can't it, like when we mentioned quality, it was seen as how much it has met, or how much it has gone beyond the expectation as well.
Yes.
Of the customer. So it can go beyond 100%, but at least 90% of the customer requirements are met. So that's the low, but I don't see it as the upper one, because it can have a 110% quality as well and 150% as well.
yeah.
So it can have more than 100% quality, but then I should have a measurement formula to calculate that as well. So for example, if customer says that I want 100% quality and I'm able to give 110, then I should have a measurement formula to calculate that.
What is
So
the
if
formula, Supreet? You have any idea? I didn't go through one on that.
Sorry, your voice is not audible.
No, I just checking, no, 110%, how it will be possible? Is there any?
So what they're trying to say is that if I'm able to exceed customer expectation,
Yes,
customer's
yes.
looking for 100% and I've given him more than that. So that's my, so
How,
that's what I'm saying, that I should be able
Yes.
to measure it. I should be
yeah,
able to
how?
measure it, that what is the 10%.
In
I
the
should
in
have,
the
Yes.
very first session, there was a discussion on what quality is, and there was a formula provided there, which meant how much we are able to provide versus the customer expectation. So
yeah,
the amount we are able to provide divided by
yeah,
customer
yeah,
expectation is the
yeah.
quality.
Quality, yeah, formula of quality. Absolutely. So yes, so that's what I'm saying. If I'm able to calculate that, then in that case, you can have a specification, upper specification limit of more than 100% also. Okay. But in most of the scenarios, when we are not able to calculate, in that particular case, quality score should only have the lower specification limit. That it should not go beyond 90%. It should not go beyond 95%. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is, if you pick any of the metric which you want to improve, be it a quality score, be it a productivity, be it a cycle time, customer escalation, surface of the process, thickness of the process, anything, you would find either USL or LSL or both. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to talk about. So we have to clearly identify that what my customer is asking for, that either he's given me a kind of a tolerance, that if you are able to provide anything between 15 to 30 minutes, I'm kind of okay, but the moment it exceeds 30 minutes, I'm not okay with it. Okay, but let me ask you a question. In this particular scenario, if I'm able to produce something before 15 minutes, why would my customer not be happy about it?
But it is not in the limit, right? It is
But
below that, right?
but
There is a range
why?
between 15 to 30.
Got it. But why would my customer be concerned about it?
See,
Might affect
Maybe
quality.
the process failure.
see, if you're giving before 15 minutes, customer might be happy, but the end product, in the long run, it might pass the requirement or it might fail in the requirement. See, I give you an example. I'm producing a
Yeah.
plastic component.
Okay.
Cycle time is 50 seconds for one part,
Mhm.
and I'm producing within 20 seconds the finished product. Initially you don't find any defects, but in the long run, then the process step capability will not be there. There might be damages after the product has launched into the market.
How can we say that?
There are chances, because see, if I have a standard of 50 minutes, 50 seconds, the part is filling time would be 2 seconds, the cooling time would be 15 seconds, and we have considered it as 50 seconds. And if you are giving it to me before 30 seconds, at that moment the customer might be happy because he's having a productivity increase.
So
But
you mean to say, that I have not fulfilled my entire process. I
yeah,
have, yeah, very good, very good. So that's what it happens. Very good one that you've talked about. So which means, so let's get back to what I've said. I said, my customer said, I want one service to be delivered within 50 to 30 minutes. I'm giving you a kind of a tolerance, a cushion. Okay. But if I deliver within 10 minutes, my customer would be happy, but if I have done some kind of a compromise on the quality also. Maybe I have not fulfilled all the processes. So as mentioned by Kishore, in the long run, it might be a dissatisfaction for the customer, and it might be dissatisfaction for the process also. Okay. So that's what we always should look at. If there is a tolerance being given, if there is a limit which has been given, we always need to ensure that we meet that. However, if I'm able to fulfill that before time, then I want to look at, I want to inspect it, whether is there any best practice that we can take it from. If it's a best practice, which means he has maybe applied some kind of a best practice, or maybe some kind of automation, then we should learn from it. But if there is something which we have done some compromise on the process, then we should ignore it. Okay, so that's what we are
Similarly,
trying.
there can be one more case in which if you are fulfilling the service or giving the product customer before time. In that case, suppose there is an internal customer, there is a separate process which
Yeah.
depend upon you for the inputs. So if you provide it before time, then it may increase their inventory costs, because they will have to pile up
Exactly.
everything for the time
Yeah.
of
Yes,
the
yes,
typing.
yes.
Absolutely. So there are too many, good one, Piyush. There are too many angles that takes place. Okay. There, it could be for a short run, my customer might get happy, but the example that you have said, I don't have that big warehouse where I can keep all the inventory there. So I have to, maybe incur another cost, maybe procure another warehouse where I can keep those equipment. So that's why specification limit, when it is beyond, or maybe it's something, sometimes it's good, then also we need to look at it, that why it has come. Okay. So just to reiterate, you can either have USL, you can either have LSL, or you can have both. Okay. In your matrix that you're working on.